Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the World of Concacaf podcast NEWSDESK. I'm Eric Schmitz.
And I'm Donald Wine.
And I hope Volar is with everybody in spirit. It's been a long summer, but there's a lot of Concacaf stuff coming up and going on. And, I feel like we should talk about these things, Donald.
I can't turn my computer, but Volar is in the corner staring at me, so I feel like he's watching over this show. Yeah, and he's right there. He's everywhere.
I'm holding my plush
I,
Volar right
I
now. It's on. I keep on my desk, so he's with me at all times.
I am Volar, so all of you can picture that.
Yes.
So
Yes, Volar is the spirit of the non-specific seabird in all of us.
caw.
So, caw. Yes. Donald, how you been?
It's been busy. Today specifically, not a great day, but we'll
Yeah.
go past that. And I think in the grand scheme of things, we're alive. We're looking forward to next week. We got a window. World Cup qualifying starts, even though the United States is not involved, and I'm really excited about that because there are 12 teams that have a legit shot at making the World Cup, and they don't have the big guns there to kind of ruin their chances. They really can go after it against each other. I think that's cool.
Yeah. See, it's been busy readjusting. I posted on the socials, but I did a CONCACAF trip, non-soccer. I was down in the islands for a bit. Spent a week down in St. Martin. Spent a night in Anguilla. Went to the famous Elvis Beach Bar in Anguilla.
I seen it. There are a lot of bars that I can tune into. Shout out Elbow Room in Fort Lauderdale. And any given point, see random people that you may or may not know. That one was fun because I literally just watched you drink for an hour off and on.
I posted a link in like our group chat. I was like, "Here's the link for the live stream." I was like, "Anyone want to watch me drink a beer?" And yeah, I just like sat in the camera shot and was drinking a carob, and life was good.
I
I do
think we'll
want,
talk a little bit more detail, right? In one more round.
yeah, no. Well, when we do our one more round, which one more round is the bonus podcast that you can hear on our Patreon, patreon.com/podcacaf. You can go on there and support our podcast for as little as $1 a month. Help us do this thing. We appreciate our support. Shout out to our patrons. We love you. Kisses. And you can listen to our one more round bonus episode, which we'll record after this. And I'll talk all about my time in St. Martin, and Anguilla. You notice how I said St. Martin twice because there's
Saint Martin,
there's the Dutch
Anguilla.
side, there's the French side, and I was at both. So it was the first time I'd spend a night in Anguilla. So I'm really excited to talk about it. You can hear it later, but we've got to talk about some stuff. It's the news desk, so we'll hit some news, what's going on around CONCACAF, and then we'll hit our postcards to the pod segment. We've got some listener questions from you. We appreciate you. We put the Volar signal out on our socials and appreciate our listeners who have questions for us, topics for us to discuss. So we'll get to that later. But there is news. CONCACAF confirmed the schedule for World Cup qualifying this fall. They'll be taking place during the September, October, and November windows. The interesting thing is November window, the last match day, all 6 matches will be going on simultaneously. So it's going to get wild.
Decision day. This is where
decision day for the World Cup.
This is where Paramount Plus, at least for us, they better figure out multi-view quickly.
Yes.
How do I get a 6 box? Yeah,
Yes.
how do I get a 6 box on my TV?
Yeah. But CONCACAF announced the schedule. Just some notes, some fun stuff because it's CONCACAF. Haiti, obviously, they don't play a lot of home matches in Haiti. All of their matches will be held in Curacao, their home matches. And their home matches actually like match up with Curaçao's in the sense that if you live in Williamstead, you'll have 2 matches in Curacao per window.
Every window,
So
yeah.
must be nice just living down in the islands. You're going to get two World Cup qualifiers every window for the next 3 months. It's a good life. El Salvador, they'll be hosting Suriname at the Cuscatlan in September, but they'll be playing their 2 October home games at Estadio Jorge El Magico Gonzalez because Cuscatlan is hosting a Guns N' Roses concert on October
Yeah.
4th. And Concacaf was like, yo, there's no way that field's going to be ready. We're not doing this. We're not even going to try. You're going to play it somewhere else.
And it's funny, El Mágico, the W Champions Cup, Washington Spirit played the Washington Spirit played their very first international game last week.
Uh-huh.
Like not in Can they've never been to Canada. They played at El Mágico against Alianza. So and that was a game that was supposed to be at the Cuscatlan and they moved it to El Mágico. I don't think it was because of Guns N' Roses as
No.
well. But yeah, that was it's an interesting field. It's
Yeah.
there'll
Well,
be
it's
some
smaller than
theatrics.
Cuscatlan, so
It
like it makes
is, yeah.
sense
So
that
they're
you
hoping to
might
pack
go.
it and but there'll be some theatrics for sure in that stadium.
Yeah, it's CONCACAF. There will be theatrics. Um, and yeah, the only other note was Honduras. They're hosting two of the games in Tegucigalpa, where they've played a lot of their home games of late, and then one in San Pedro Sula at Estadio Morazan. So interesting that they're like the El Salvador and Honduras are the two teams that are not playing in the same stadium for their three home matches.
Well, they had moved to Tegucigalpa because the Metropolitano was it wasn't condemned, but it essentially was. It was basically
Yeah,
deemed not suitable for play,
yeah,
and they've been working to get it back. So it's interesting they're going back to SPS, but not playing at the Metropolitano.
yeah. And I mean, having been to the uh, that stadium, I get it.
I
I
get
I
it.
get
Yeah,
that. I get
understood.
that. So yeah, looking forward to qualifying. We'll be talking more about qualifying in the future, but want to touch on the schedule getting dropped. Also getting dropped of late are rosters. It's that time. A lot of talk about the U.S. men's national team roster for their friendlies coming up against South Korea and Japan. I know you're going to the South Korea match, correct?
I am not most
You're
likely
not? Okay.
anymore. Yeah,
Tentatively,
today.
possibly, maybe.
No, like something happened today and
Oh,
it's less likely now. So,
oh,
um, but I'll have to be with family somewhere most likely next weekend.
okay. Well, unfortunate. I
Yeah.
know myself and our friend Jonathan, who couldn't join us tonight, we'll be heading up to Columbus for the Japan match. So we'll be getting into it at this window. A lot of talk about the U.S. roster just because of the names who are not on it. Christian Pulisic, a name on it. There's a lot of belly aching about his absence in the summer. He's back in the fold, but a lot of the quote unquote regulars also not called in, namely Weston McKennie, who Pochettino came out and said that he wanted to give him a bit of a break, didn't want to make him do the travel. Um, and then numerous other names. Down your thoughts and any points you want to make?
Yeah, I think it is interesting that I was on the press conference. I think the press conference got a lot into the whys that people were asking. And
Uh,
you may not like the answers, but at least he explained what his rationale was. And most of it was he's still trying to evaluate these players. I think we can talk at length about why that could be problematic, why that is a good thing. You could debate either side. For me, it feels like, um, he mentioned that he has a player pool in his mind of 60 to 65 players, and we
wild.
are 9 months away from the World Cup. That feels like a lot. But he also mentioned that this is the last window that he's going to use to evaluate players, and then he's going to start narrowing this group down to the 26 or so that's going to be possible. So I wonder what this means, but I guess for these players that are on this roster, it really does mean, hey, I got a stay of execution for some of these guys that are on the fringe. I get a chance to show that I really should be in this conversation. And so hopefully they make the best of it. They got two really good games coming up against Japan and South Korea. So this will be a good test, but also you get some of these guys back. Balogun's back. Josh Sargent's back in the fold. Tim Weah is back after the summer off. Alex Zendejas is back after a lengthy absence. I think this is his first call up in 2025. You have the new guys like Noah Kai Banks. You got Tristan Blackman back in the fold. Jonathan Klinsman's here. I think, I mean,
I do think it's hilarious that there's a Klinsman and a Berhalter
Anna
on the
Berhalter.
squad.
Yeah. Uh-huh. You couldn't write it any better. So yeah, you see some of these names and people are like, that's not a name I've heard in a long time.
Yeah,
But again, he's getting, they're getting these looks, and there's some guys like Paxton Harrison. Brendan Harrison doesn't make the squad. Paxton Harrison, who just made the move to Colorado. A lot of those guys who just made recent moves were left off. But again, Tim Weah is here, and he just moved to Marseille. So
yeah,
it's interesting what went with in some of the rationales behind it. But I think you let this window play out. But now it's about we're out of chances now. It's time to
yeah.
start narrowing this down.
Yeah, I do feel like looking at the roster, there are guys who he's clearly calling in just to like have them there, and there's guys he wants to look at. Like I don't know if he really wants a good look at Sean Sawatsky or if he needs to see more of Nathan Harriel after the summer, but you need 23 guys. So there's only so many minutes. There's going to be 180 minutes to dole out. I'm sure guys like Tristan Blackman are he's going to get a run. Noah Kai Banks is going to get a run. Matt Freese is probably going to get 180 minutes. I'm wondering if like a guy like Roman Celentano, who's goalkeeper for FC Cincinnati, got called in because one of the games is in Columbus. Just like come up the
Mhm.
road and be on the squad. Like Freese is playing.
Well, also like Sean Sawatsky, right? Columbus Crew. He was on the roster for the friendlies in June and then got removed for
Mm,
injury, so
yeah,
he didn't make the Gold Cup roster. But by all accounts, he was probably going to make that roster if he had not picked up the knock that forced him off. So I think those are interesting, and you see like Sawatsky with the Crew, Celentano with Cincinnati. That's one thing. Max Arston, obviously, is a Columbus Crew guy. But I also think that some of these MLS players, it's clear that he is saying, hey, MLS has value. There are some guys here, but I need to see them at the international level to gauge like where this depth is coming from. We kind of know who some of our starters are going to be if everybody is healthy, but who's going to back up Anthony Robinson? Who's going to back up
yeah.
Serginho Dest? We need those answers for the World Cup, and I think maybe that's what this window is all about. But I think a lot of us would have preferred that we get some of those core guys in to finally have them all play together because
Mm.
we really haven't had that yet under Pochettino.
Yeah. There's a point that I'm going to make a little bit later in the news desk that ties into that. But as far as the roster goes, yeah, he did call in a lot of MLS players. But I am curious to see with the October and the November windows how he manages like the MLS guys, knowing that they've got playoffs and some of their season will be over by the time November window rolls around, and knowing that there is going to be a January camp
Hmm.
so, which is going to be primarily domestic players. So, some of these MLS guys, they might have not get called in October, November, but Poch is probably going to call them in January. And
Right.
how is he going to view that? I'm really interested to see two good tests for the squad. Should be two big crowds in those stadiums. Um, and yeah, World Cup prep is here for the team. Um, Going back to the pro game, kind of related to MLS, Leagues Cup final coming up at recording time. We have our final matchup. It'll be Miami Seattle. Obviously, it's Leagues Cup, so Lionel Messi is inevitable. But I do want to touch on you see Javier Mascherano getting the red card and then going into
Hmm.
the stands and like coaching via speakerphone with the assistant.
Oh, it wasn't. He was on the phone. Like he was
Yeah,
on
that's
his.
what I'm saying. It's like speakerphone. He was like
Yeah, he was
yelling
like. I
into the
mean,
phone.
but he had it up to his ear, and he was like, "Yo, bro!" Like it wasn't even speakerphone. It was, how you yell at someone over the phone, and
Yeah.
you take the
No,
phone
the
off of your
assistant was
ear.
on speaker. It
Yeah.
looked like he was whole. Well, I guess he had the AirPods in.
Yeah, but like it's funny because he was yelling at it like we used to yell back in the day, where if you were holding the phone and you wanted to yell at somebody, you took it off your ear and you held it in front of your face like a walkie-talkie, and you yelled into it. But it was funny. He actually Inter Miami came to DC right after that, and so he was asked about that, and it was a very lengthy answer in Spanish. But I caught enough to be like, yeah, it's basically they said it's in the rules, which again, this is Leagues Cup tried to steal CONCACAF's flow in creating a rule that doesn't exist, but they did it anyway because it's Miami and they're gonna, they don't want the coach on the sidelines for the final.
Yeah, no. It's a great callback to that famous shot of Miguel Herrera in the stands on the walkie-talkie.
Yeah, that was blatant, right? And
Yeah,
like I remember was it CONCACAF at that? No, it was La
yeah,
Liga or Liga MX, I think at that point was like, dude, I need you to be a little more inconspicuous than that. Like he was basically like he basically looked at the ref as he was doing it. He like stared in his face, held the walkie-talkie to his hands, like I'm talking to my guy. What are you gonna do about it? I'm in the stands. You can't red card me again. And I think the referee like went over to the assistant coach like I can red card you, and he goes, "What? I mean, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just receiving instruction. I'm allowed to do that on the sidelines." And they're like, fair point.
just
But
like exhale, like
somebody's going to jail for this.
yeah, classic Leagues Cup. Um, yeah, couple spots in the Concacaf Champions Cup on the line. I know the Central American Cup is going on right now,
hmm
so we'll get to the future pod. We'll talk.
Saprissa out.
Yeah,
They won't
Saprissa out's a
qualify.
big
That's a
one,
big deal. Yeah.
big deal in Central America. But back to the international calendar. Did you see the big announcement for the October
Yes.
window?
Oh yes.
Puerto Rico is playing friendly at Soldier Field in October. They are hosting Argentina, the
During the
world
window.
champion. During the window, Puerto Rico is hosting Argentina. Now, we were talking earlier. I was talking about like I had a point I want to make. We're talking about earlier about how it's important for the U.S. to like prepare for the World Cup. Like they gotta get their squad together. They gotta get some tests. Really, challenge them so they're ready to play at the international stage. Argentina is like, we'll just play Puerto Rico. It does not matter. We don't need.
We ready.
Yeah, we will be ready. And if you look at Argentina's schedule coming up, like again, the World Cup is in
9 months.
months, matter of months. It is next June. They've got friendlies tentatively scheduled against Puerto Rico and Cuba in October window. And they don't have opponents set, but there's rumors that they're going to be playing matches in Angola, like the country Angola, and India in the November window. They
They getting that
like
bread.
they've qualified. They're in. Like, and they are the world champions. They're like, we don't really need to be like whatever. We just play some games, get the squad together, go have some fun. But they're playing Puerto Rico and Cuba.
They getting that bread, man. But also, first of all, the very funny like rumor that was going around here in DC because Messi missed uh the Inter Miami game here in DC. He has actually not showed up at Audi Field since he joined Major League Soccer. He's been injured in both games, and the first game was like the day after he signed. And so I guess like on Monday, the rumor was that not only was he not in DC, he wasn't in Miami either. He was at the Bad Bunny residency concert in Puerto Rico. And I'm thinking he was just there to lock the deal down. He was back, he was chilling in the back, watching Bad Bunny do his thing. And, the Puerto Rican soccer officials was like, yo, can you sign on the dotted line on behalf of Argentina? He said, yeah, sure. We're doing this in Chicago. Sounds great. We'll see you there. Sign the dotted line. Enjoy the show. So that's my conspiracy theory. I'm sticking to it. Messi went to the Bad Bunny residency in Puerto Rico to lock down this major friendly for Puerto Rico. But honestly, in all seriousness, what a great get for Puerto Rico. If you recall, they actually got Spain to come to Puerto Rico after they won the World Cup. I think it was like 2012 that they played them, and they almost beat them It took like a Herculean effort, last minute effort by Spain to win 2-1. But Puerto Rico, I don't know what they're doing to pull some of these big teams to play games against them. But we might need to holler at their scheduler because they are one of the best of the biz.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess they've got. I'm just going off Wikipedia here about that Cuba match because they've got the date for that as October 16th, which is kind of odd.
That's late, yeah.
That's
I think the
that's
window ends on the 14th.
yeah. So that I don't know if that makes sense. They're releasing the sighting for that, but the Puerto Rican Federation announced that it's going to be happening October 13th, which is a Monday. I mean, there's got to be some promoter who's like, yeah, we are writing the check for both of y'all. Like Argentina, come on. Puerto Rico, you get to show up and play these guys. So we'll see. Great for Puerto Rico. Great for Concacaf. We love to see it. Um, I think we'll just take a pause because we've got some postcards. Thank you to everyone who reached out, but we'll take a quick break. And we've got some listener questions we'll get to. We'll talk some more Concacaf. All right. So we put out the Volar call on the socials, looking for some questions. And I mean, this is a CONCACAF podcast. We love talking CONCACAF adjacent, CONCACAF related topics, and such as CONCACAF. The weirder, the better. So we did get a couple on the Twitter, on the quote unquote X. Um, we're gonna go to at SPK underscore ultra. Interesting question. What do you think European football fans can learn from the US fans since those are pretty different fan cultures? Donald, you got anything on this?
Rhythm. I'll tell you, some of y'all European players, y'all fans cannot keep a 2-4. We need to teach you how to do 2-4 instead of a 1-3. If you don't know what that means, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But no, I think when you think about the different fan cultures, I think what they can learn from us is that there is no one right way to do anything. Like we come from we're a melting pot of a country, right? Diverse communities. Like you in Nashville do things differently than us in DC. DC does it differently than New York or Baltimore or anywhere else. And I think through all of that, I think European fans need to understand that they have that too. They just choose not to use it, right? We are a country that is as big as their continent in all intents and purposes.
Mhm.
So imagine, England is basically Seattle, Spain is basically, San Diego. And those are two very different countries, two very different cultures. They have two very different ways. If they approach it that way, they will then understand why the United States has to basically adapt to kind of the environment that we're in and to embrace all of these different cultures, all these different ideas, all these different perspectives on how to watch the game and enjoy the game. And I think the last thing that they should learn is to chill. They just need to chill out.
You took mine. I was literally about to say
Yeah,
they
no,
gotta
please,
chill.
please let me, no, let me stop. Elaborate. Keep going.
Yeah. No, I mean, a lot of what we hear about European fan culture is that like it coming from someone who like the question came from someone who had ultra in their username. Like, dude, it's not that deep. It's soccer. It's football. Like, you can go to a game and just have a good time. Like, you don't need to beat the shit out of other people. You don't need to like invade a town that your team's playing in a way. Like, you don't really see the riots and the fan violence. I mean, you see some of it. Like we do have our share. I know there's
Hmm.
the stuff in San Diego with the San Diego FC fans and the LA fans earlier
Hmm.
this year. Um, there's been stuff between the New York fans in the past. Obviously, the Copa America final at Hard Rock, there was a lot of nonsense there. But for the most part, like people just go to the game and have a good time. It's
But
not.
also, right, you like the away section that
Mhm.
they have in Europe, that didn't really start here until a few years ago. Like, and
Yeah.
especially like on the women's side, you didn't have it at all. Like, I remember
Mhm.
going to games and both sets of supporters from both teams sat together. They would cheer
Yeah.
against each other and they would just go ahead and do their thing. But I also, yeah, I think that part of the game is essential for them to understand is that like I gotta work in the morning.
Yes.
I ain't trying to mess around with you, right? Like that's not like you want to go into a fight over this game. Dude,
Yeah.
I don't care. I like my heart has been hollowed out. It's empty. I don't care like that.
Yeah.
And yes, do I care about my team winning? Yeah, sure. Do I live and die on 11 people on the field all the time? Do not recommend. Also, would highly recommend. It's so fun. But we leave it there. There is a point where we kind of go, I got real life responsibilities and I am an adult. Like
Yeah.
we can disagree about which team is better, but we could do it as adults.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll note is like in the US fans, like you don't really see a lot of news stories about players getting racially taunted. In Europe, like it's a
It
problem.
does happen.
Like even
I mean,
over the weekend, you know,
yeah,
like actually since the season has started, I think each weekend there's been some
there's been one.
incident somewhere in
The very
Europe.
first game of the season, there was one,
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
APL. So,
Yeah.
oh,
And like
I know another thing that they can learn from us.
what's
How,
up?
and this is no disrespect to Grimsby Town. They need to learn how to rush a field. They need to watch some
Yes.
college, and to be fair, college football has just started, right? Like
Mhm.
opening weekend is this weekend, so they may not have been able to brush up on how to properly rush a field, rush a court. We are the best at that. Like, have you ever seen 90,000 people empty into a field? We see it every football season. They can learn from that instead of this like I'm going to try and rush this one guy and there's 25 people on the field kind of running around in little pockets. They need to have that coordinated swoosh attack, and the people need to be ready to usher the other players off the field safely, and that way everybody can have a party. There should be not a stitch of grass that is not with somebody jumping on it in celebration. That is how we do it in college football. But I'm not a huge fan of field stormings, but we do it better than anyone else in the world. So if you're going to learn from someone, learn from the United States.
Grimsby ain't played nobody, Paul.
They ain't played. They ain't played. They not. If watch the SEC, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. You gotta learn when it means more, you know. It just means more here. So thank you for that question. This one goes to from at Faraway Football, great account. Thank you for the support on Twitter. Given the relationship between the U.S. and the RMI, oh, and the Marshall Islands Federation, because Marshall Islands they just played the it was the Outrigger Cup,
Hmm.
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, out in northwest Arkansas, Marshall Islands
Hmm.
playing their first international matches. Question was, the large Marshallese population in Arkansas. Is the Marshall Islands Federation a candidate for Concacaf? I think this is a pretty simple answer, but do you have thoughts on Marshall Islands, their first
Th- this
matches?
is this is with every ounce of respect I can muster. No. Um, and it's because of where they are. I think they are great. I mean, they should be in Oceania. I think they should learn how to build from that. And I see like I like the creativity that they have in going to this place that has randomly a bunch of Marshallese and playing soccer in the Ozarks. Like do that. That sort of thing is cool. And I have talked about some of these smaller nations kind of being creative and how they get some of these games and get opportunities for their guys to play. And I think that's all cool. I just don't think that they uh, are in CONCACAF like geographically, like ain't nobody flying 10,000 miles to play a game. We would barely do that, and we're sickos. We would absolutely do it, but we're
Yeah.
sickos. But I don't think, you know, French Guiana and Suriname are going to fly 15,000 miles for a soccer game. Like they're just
Yeah,
not going to do it.
yeah. I mean, for me, it's a simple no, just based on like we've got new countries and national teams in our actual geographical region that Concacaf ain't taken. Like
Right.
if
St. Pierre, Miquelon,
If Greenland can't get in,
Greenland.
if
Yeah.
Greenland can't get in, sorry, Marshall Islands, like you're not like you can be a good partner. I think it's great that they got Turks and Caicos. Um, they got them to come out and play. Uh, I think we got to focus on our. It's not you, it's us.
Now, having said that, I think the Marshall Islands are doing right by kind of trying to get that collaboration going
Mhm.
on. This is like a new brewery starting up and tapping into the
Yeah,
brewery that's tried some stuff and go, hey, you want to try this thing over here because I think this could work. I think that's great, and again, because that's going to give the Turks and Caicos of the world and uh, even say if they want to do like non CONCACAF teams like Greenland or whatever, like get them some games. And
yeah,
that way all of them can be showcased. And yeah, they may be terrible games and they may be catch some L's, but at least they're getting that backing so that when they go, they can't say, oh yeah, no, we want to join your confederation. We have one match that we've played. They need to get some matches under their belt to kind of show that they're going to be consistent about scheduling.
yeah, for sure. Wish them all the best. All right, next question goes to patron, friend of the pod, our friend Jen. Uh, she sent a bunch of questions, so I got one really good one, and then there's like a small one that I think I got an answer for. Um, so her question was the best meal you have had while traveling for away CONCACAF games. I know my answer. What is your answer?
You start with your answer because I need to think about that. I've had some. I'm even trying to compartmentalize the away CONCACAF matches that I've been to. Um,
I
Go ahead.
mean, easy answer: the popcorn chicken at Float for in St. Vincent World Cup qualifier 2016. Like, I mean, the best. Like, that's a death row meal for me. Um, the next the next candidate for me would be World Cup qualifying in Panama 2017. Um, the bar ran out of food, so we ordered Domino's.
Hmm.
That might be one of the best things I've ever eaten. Is
Um,
Panamanian Domino's.
I mean, look, I have had KFC Mo Bay before
Oh
or
yeah.
after DC United played Montego Bay United in CONCACAF Champions League. That is easily, again, one of the best nights I've ever had. I like the doubles that we had, that new kind of
Yeah.
like food area that they have in
Oh, yeah.
downtown of Port of Spain and Trinidad and Tobago. That was really good. I'm looking up this place because in St. Vincent, the place that we went to for the pregame, uh, I'm trying to
Oh
see.
yeah. Oh, what was the name of the bar? It was like that outdoor bar with like the lean-to that they were
Uh-huh.
cooking. They had that hot sauce there, right? Is
They
that what
had
it
the
was?
the hot sauce. That's exactly what I'm thinking about. The popcorn chicken that they had, the fried chicken that they had on top of the hot sauce on top of it, where it was so good that I
Yeah.
literally
We're talking
bought.
about two different bars, by the way. Like Float is like
Yes, this is not
the
float.
famous place. This is not Float. I cannot remember the name of the bar. I do remember having shark bites there.
Chill spot. That's what it
Chill
was called.
Spot, yes,
Chill spot.
yes. Shout out Chill Spot. Oh,
Shout
such a
out Chill
magical
Spot
place.
and their homemade Scotch bonnet hot sauce. I bought three 2-liter bottles full of it. I literally said, how can I get this home? And they said, all we have are 2-liter bottles. And I said, I will buy a 2-liter, I'll buy three of them. And they said, you got to give us 15 minutes to actually stuff them in the bottles. And actually, like after like 2 minutes, she came out and said, actually, we make them in these bottles, and there's two full ones that I'm just going to give you. And then she, basically married a bunch of sauce into a third. And I think she only charged me $5 per bottle, which is less than a little normal bottle at the airport. So yeah, shout out Chill Spot.
Yeah, there is a picture somewhere. I don't know if it was. Grant Wall, R.I.P. But there was a U.S. journalist who was at that game and got a picture of like that pregame scene at Chill Spot. You could see
Yeah,
us eating
yeah.
in the picture that was on like socials. Oh God, to live that match that weekend, that trip again, be amazing. But the other question Jen had was related to you know the late news, the late entertainment news. Um, who in the U.S. men's national team pool do you think was the most hype about the Taylor Swift Travis Kelsey engagement? Donald, do you have an answer for this? I think I have an answer for this.
Um, Geo.
Geo? Any particular reason?
No, I think he listens to Swift.
Well, see, my answer, easy answer for me, because he is on the record as being a Swifty, quote unquote.
Hmm.
I'm
Air
doing
quotes.
the finger quotes here. Laser. Um, Walker Zimmerman is on record as being a massive
Oh yeah, that
Swifty.
is a good shout. Yeah.
So I am sure that he was hype about it as much as one would be hyped about in a celebrity engagement.
And and I don't think any of the guys like a Busio maybe are Chiefs fans where they would be excited on the other end of that, right? Like we're all thinking about who are the Swifties, but like who would might be a Chiefs fan who are like, oh, that's awesome, like finally. I don't know who that would be. I think Busio. I mean, Busio's from Kansas City. Um, I think that might be it.
There really
We
isn't
had a
anyone else in the pool from
Right, yeah, we used
that
to have
area right
quite a few
now.
guys from Kansas City, or at least played in Kansas City, and right now we're kind of
Shout
lacking.
out Grim Zusi. Shout out Matt Beasler.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But I think those are the guys that might be at least to have the are the leaders of the clubhouse on being excited about that.
I'm fairly confident that they'll probably be seen at a game next summer at Arrowhead.
Oh, you
Probably
know they will.
they'll
You
probably
know
make
they
World
will.
Cup. Like you know, I'm sure they can get tickets. I'm sure they've got the connections. We've got connections, but they probably got better connections than us,
Look,
and I got better money than us.
look, Travis, Taylor. At Concacaf, if you have extras floated around, we don't need to be in the suite. It would be nice, but we don't need to be in the suite. We can be anywhere in the building that you can place us. But if you
Yeah.
have extras, let us know.
Travis,
I'll travel to Kansas City.
if the New Heights podcast needs to do any features on World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF, we are
Holla.
happy to hop on the pod for you. Um, I mean,
Make
personally,
sense of all this.
mentioning Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey on this podcast, I'm hoping that the SEO is going to really boost the listens for this podcast. Like, I'm definitely going to be putting it in uh,
The hashtags.
the description for the podcast. It'll be in the transcript. Might sneak in the title, just to get some more listens because you say the words Taylor Swift and like people just it's like the bat signal for the Swifties.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see like what the one thing I'm looking forward to next summer is just like how the World Cup's going to kind of take over the zeitgeist in the U.S. and like people just latching onto like this is the thing that's happening right now. It happens during the Olympics, but it's been a minute since there's been like a Olympics or a major event like this here.
Hmm.
So I'm really interested to see like how much attention it gets and how much clout chasing there's going to be just because it's here. It is the biggest soccer tournament on the planet, not most prestigious, like obviously CONCACAF Nations League given, but it is the World Cup, capital letters.
It will be the biggest sporting event in the history of the world. I keep saying this and people think it's hyperbole. It will not. The biggest tournament in the world's history was the 1994 World Cup, and that had 24 teams. So it's still the most profitable too.
Yeah.
This one will have 148 teams at 104 games. So you extrapolate that. And in bigger stadiums, all of them bigger. and in theory, all of them full. It's going to be absolutely massive. Hey, I don't know if you have one more question, or do you have one more question on there?
I mean, we can have one, but I'll allow you to
Yeah, I was gonna.
proceed.
There was one that I think is interesting, and I want to get your take on it. It's from our buddy Andres,
It's
and
probably the same question I was looking at.
yeah, but I'll read it because
Yeah, go
let's
read
give
it.
you a minute.
Yeah, I appreciate
And
you.
this question is, which CONCACAF team that most likely won't qualify for the World Cup deserves to qualify, or guess which teams do you think deserve to qualify?
That was also another question from Jen, but
Oh, that was from Jen. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Sorry, Jen. Sorry, Jen. But
yeah,
yes,
it is a great question. But
yeah.
I mean, this is like the Jen segment of the
The Jen
podcast.
segment. Well,
Yeah.
Jen did well. So just for going through, let's go through groups A, B, and C.
Uh-huh.
Group A is Panama, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Suriname. Group B is Jamaica, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, and Bermuda. And Group C is Costa Rica, Honduras, Haiti, and Nicaragua. Only the top teams, the top finishers will qualify, and two of the three second place teams, right, will qualify
Mhm.
for the Interconfederation playoff, by which, with 8 teams, or is it 6 teams? 2 teams will qualify for the last 2 spots of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So, what you thinking? Which team do you think won't qualify that deserves it?
I think it's tough just because with the extra spots and knowing that the playoffs going to be there. I mean, it's going to be tough sledding in the playoff for whoever gets there. But Honduras is going to have tough sledding just because I think Haiti is going to be a tough out for them, and Costa Rica is going to get through. Like, Coast, I'm fairly confident Costa Rica is going to get an auto bid. I think they're going to get Honduras is the one that's like they're going to have to find the results to get to the playoff. Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. So I'm going to say Honduras. What about you?
I I don't know which team it will be, but it will be one of Curacao or Trinidad and Tobago because I think Jamaica's winning that group. We finally get another island team back in the World Cup. I would love for it to be two. And honestly, we would hope that all four of them could qualify, but all four of them can't. I think whoever of Curacao and Trinidad and Tobago doesn't finish second, that would be the one because I think there is something to be said about the Caribbean having a major presence at this World Cup. If Jamaica makes it, that's going to be awesome. How many Jamaicans are in the United States that would get to travel, plus the ones from the Caribbean that get to travel? Trinidad and Tobago, how many Trinis are in America that would be able to see their team and really represent the culture of the CFU? That's what I'm looking at. Curacao the same way, and even Bermuda, right? Like Bermuda is a underrated team that might have their work cut out for them, but they could easily be second or third as well. I would love to see it's a pain. It's great that there's going to be one because all four
Mhm.
in one group are islands, but it also sucks that it can't be three. Because at most one is going to qualify and one will go to the Interconfederation playoff. But I think that that CONCACAF is one thing representing, but having the Caribbean specifically would be very important for not just that region, but for all of CONCACAF.
See, I'm going to have to counterpoint you there.
Cool.
Simply because I do feel you on the islands. I think Curacao making some moves would be great because obviously that program, like, there's been a lot of hype around what that could be with,
And they've been up
you
and
know,
down too. They've been
they've been up and
inconsistent.
down. Like, they've got a squad. There's a lot of Dutch, players that are eligible. You could get in there. Like, if they end up making it, like, I'm sure there's players out there that might be able to get talked into the squad and like really build them up going into like the playoffs and stuff. But I'm sorry, I Trinidad and Tobago. It has not been yet 8 years since they did what they did, and that's one. That's one reason. But also, do you want Jack Warner watching the World Cup with pride.
Jack Warner sucks. I don't
I
care what he
know
does.
exactly. Like until you know it happens for him, you know, capital letters, it happens. until he, until that for him, I don't want no
Until
Trinidad.
he
Sorry,
watches, until he gets
stay
to watch
home.
Back of My Eyelids.
Yeah, stay home, Trinidad. You
So throw Bermuda in
you
there.
have
Yeah,
there hasn't been the penance yet for that.
yeah. No, I concede that. That's fair. I
They
think
got
I'm
to wait
more
like
of
20 years, 20 years for what they did to us, what they did to
yeah.
me.
I think did to me. I was there. Me.
I know, I
Yeah.
know.
But
They got
I think Morley is just like get islands in there because it's not often that we have that opportunity. So the fact that we could get one is great, but there's an opportunity to get two. And so get two however you can. We'll worry about Jack Warner sucking later.
it can be
But go
somebody else.
Curacao.
We want Concacaf to have 8 teams.
Get,
We 100% Concacaf 8 teams. We are
yeah.
talking. Go back to the college sports. Like we are Team SEC here. We want
Mm-hmm.
as many teams in as possible.
Because
But
they don't affect us, right? Like they
yeah,
can't. They won't be in our group. At least they won't be in our group. And if there's 12 groups, so like, yeah, spread them out, baby.
yeah, everyone can get Concacaf here. But sorry, I can't back Trinidad. Just can't do it. But since you did cite Andres, our friend, our dear friend, great photographer, um, good friend of the
Absolutely.
pod. He did submit a question um about some of the U.S. players getting not called in. He says Weston McKennie is getting rest. What does it say if you're a healthy player and don't get a call up less than a year out from the World Cup?
I think in McKinney's case, and he was specifically addressed by in the press conference by Mauricio Pochettino. Poch, I mean, it was very quick. There was no thinking about it. There was no hesitation. He said he played in the Club World Cup. I want him to get this rest. And I think Pochettino recognizes that every year we have this saga with Weston McKennie where Juventus just decides to not give him a locker. He changes his number all the time because they take his number away. This time around, at least, he gave his number up to a teammate who wanted to honor his dad, which I think is awesome. But every year we have this. He plays well for Juventus. Summertime hits, they're done playing, and all of a sudden he's on the outs. Everyone's looking to transfer him. He sucks. He's not. He doesn't have a locker. He doesn't have a number. He's not on the squad. And then he works his way back onto the team, and he gets a number. Then he gets a locker, and then he balls out like he normally does. And I think Poch recognizes that he especially is a guy that has not left his club, but still needs to reacclimate himself to the coach. And I think getting also he said he didn't have a real rest, which he didn't, right? Like they went straight to preseason after the Club World Cup. So he didn't really get a break. And I'm okay with that particular rationale. Do I believe like the question is, do you believe Pochettino when he says that? That's up for debate. But if that is the reason that he left them out, I think that's fine. And I do think that in the case of McKinney specifically, we don't need to worry about him missing this window as a sign that he might be in peril of missing the World Cup.
Yeah. I mean, Poch came out and said there are 60 to 65 players in the mix. Like he is he might have in his head like a good idea of who he's probably going to call, but he
Hmm.
is but explicitly saying to guys like there no one is penciled in at this point. Like you got to show up, you got to try, you got to like earn your way into the group. So if you're a healthy player and you haven't gotten a call up at all in like the last year and a half year since he came into the job, then you're probably out on the outside looking in. But if you've been in a camp in the last year and he's seen you, he's got you in mind to some extent.
And he's
So
called in like 56 guys. So,
yeah.
and this is counting January camp, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
he's called in like I think it was like 56 or 58 guys. So he clearly is looking at everybody. And yeah, again, there's some guys who've been called in more than once. I also think that you have to stay ready, so you ain't got to get ready, and you
Mhm.
always be ready. That is my mantra for life. And what happened 3 years ago? We had a center back by the name of Miles Robinson who was all set to be in the World Cup, going to be the starter. Then he got hurt.
Mhm.
And guess who stepped in? Tim Ream, right? A person who was out. Like
Yeah.
he was not even in the first out of the NCAA tournament. He was an out. And now you can't remove him from the lineup any game. So it's about maximizing your opportunity, staying ready, playing well for your club, getting those opportunities to play because you never know when your number is called. And when your number is called, be ready to step up because we don't know who, like, we know who we think is going to be on the roster. We have these ideas and we all have our 23 or 26, but we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring us. If one of those guys unfortunately gets hurt, if one of those guys goes to a team or they bench them and they get rusty, all these are factors that Pochettino has to weigh, and he can't predict now what's going to happen 9 months from now with these players. These players got to continually show up every single time.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the nature of, the national team, where it's like guys may find their form in the next 4 months, like get themselves a March calling. You know, if Cade Cowell just has the season of his life, he hasn't been in the group all year. He could be back in the picture. I mean, guys who are healthy now, I think you just got to play your ass off and you know hope he sees you. Got anything else?
No, I think
Well,
that's good.
I think it's good.
Yeah,
Um,
appreciate everybody who sent questions.
yeah, appreciate everybody who sent questions. Appreciate our patrons. Again, you can support our podcast on Patreon, patreon.com/podcacaf, PODCACAF. Go there. As little as $1 a month. You get some bonus content. Um, yeah, it's how we do this. We need your help. Um, Appreciate everyone who has supported us in the past and will in the future. Make sure you're following us on all social medias at Podcacaf on Blue Sky, on Twitter/X, on Facebook, on Instagram. Donald, where can people find you?
At BlazingDW on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and also at starsandstripesfc.com. All the US coverage and my other podcasts, USA Soccercast, where focusing on the U.S. men's and women's national teams and the leagues and the players that comprise it.
Um, Thanks for tuning in. We're going to go record our One More Round podcast. I'm going to talk about my trip to St. Martin and Anguilla and hope to see you there and see you next time. Appreciate it. Enjoy the soccer. We'll see you next time.